All men have a secret attraction to sadness, Dostoevsky once wrote, and perhaps no one feels it as deeply as the melancholic. It's not just about being alone. It's a kind of existential, almost philosophical solitude, as if there's always one more layer between them and the world. Psychoanalysis sees this feeling not as chance, but as rooted in an emotional structure marked by idealization, introspection, and a strong sense of symbolic loss. The melancholic seeks depth in relationships, but constantly feels out of place, as if their emotions are always too much for others. Understanding this is the first step in managing isolation. But does this sensitivity really have to be a burden?
According to Freud, the melancholic deals with a loss they cannot name. This loss is internalized and turns into self-deprecation, often leading them into isolation, not by choice, but as a defense against new wounds. They avoid others out of fear of reliving abandonment, rejection, or misunderstanding. What may look like apathy or distance is, in fact, a defense mechanism. The good news, by recognizing this pattern, one can start rebuilding bridges. But it takes courage not to erase their melancholy, but to get closer to others without denying their own depth. So how can a melancholic nurture connection without losing themselves in their internal sea?
Psychoanalysis shows that in the relationship with the analyst, the melancholic can rediscover a safe space to exist without judgment. This bond, based on attentive listening and symbolic repetition, allows them to recognize their emotions without being overwhelmed. This model can be extended beyond the therapy room. Safe relationships with clear boundaries and empathetic listening help the melancholic feel accepted as they are. This doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with the willingness to show oneself, even just a little. Small acts of openness can be the beginning of deeper connections. And where else can the melancholic find refuge without hiding? Melancholy, far from being just suffering, is also an endless source of creativity. Many artists, poets, and thinkers have turned their solitude into works that move the world. Winnicott said the true self only emerges when there's space for play, for spontaneous creation. The melancholy can find relief and connection when externalizing their inner world through art, writing, or music. By giving shape to what they feel, they invite others to see their soul. It's no longer a cry in the void, but an invitation to communion. But is creation enough to fill emotional voids? One of the most dangerous illusions for the melancholic is believing that isolation will protect them from pain. Withdrawal might feel safe at first, but over time it feeds a cycle of emptiness and self-criticism. Psychoanalysis reminds us that the self is built through encounters with others. Without that exchange, identity weakens. In this case, self-sufficiency is more of an armor than a solution. Breaking this cycle doesn't mean abandoning one's introspective nature, but daring to face the discomfort of human contact. And the key might lie in a quiet but transformative movement, the conscious choice to show up, even minimally. But what can sustain this choice when things get tough? For the melancholic, daily life can feel boring or even oppressive. but it can also offer structure. Psychoanalysis shows that creating small rituals, getting dressed, even if not going out, writing, even if unpublished, preparing coffee as an act of care brings symbolism to the day. These seemingly mundane acts say in silence, "I exist," even without witnesses. And when we live with intention, each act becomes an anchor against the void. The secret lies in consistency, not intensity. A regular self-care practice helps the melancholic stay grounded in the external world. But how can they avoid falling into automation and keep the meaning alive? Melancholic loneliness is often the lack of a space where one can share feelings without over-explaining. Creating or joining spaces with shared purpose, book clubs, creative projects, philosophical discussions can offer that sense of meaning. Lacan said the subject is structured through language. Thus, to speak and be heard is itself a form of connection. And more, realizing that others also feel deeply, seek meaning, and get lost is profoundly healing. When the melancholic sees they're not the only one who feels the world too intensely, a new kind of belonging arises. And this is where something very important needs to happen. Melancholy doesn't have to be a prison. It can be a portal, an invitation to depth, to hidden beauty and pain, to sensitivity as power. When the melancholic learns to inhabit their solitude without drowning in it, they become able to offer the world something rare, genuine presence. If you saw yourself in this video, know that your pain is not weakness. It's raw sensitivity, waiting to be embraced. Like this video if it touched something inside you. Share it with someone else who bears a quiet soul, and subscribe to the channel. Here, melancholy is not a problem to be solved, but a strength to be cultivated with awareness, affection, and courage.